Hello everyone and welcome back to my walkthrough of Dark Souls 3. Last episode we completed the Cathedral of the Deep, and in this episode we are going to take on Farron Keep. So we need to prepare a little bit before going there. I am not going to need the poison bite ring any longer, the blood bite ring any longer. I will instead switch it for poison bite ring. And I'm also going to change my armor a little bit. So I am keeping the Drang armor and gauntlets, but for leggings I'm actually going to grab brigand trousers, and I'm going to put on a brigand hood as well. That is to counter the poison that this next area is full of. So the bonfire we want to go to is here. It's a Farron Keep. And here we are. So this is quite an open area full of poison. And the message that we see says extinguish 3 flames and open the door to wolf's blood. There are also quite a few slugs here. That also take 2 hits to go down, which is less than ideal. Now I know I mentioned I would be using this greatsword for the rest of the run, but since it's not at its strongest yet, I am going to go back to this setup of Irrefill straight sword and a fire long sword. Right, so over here we find a ragged mask. Now let's continue going to the left and loot the items that we find over here. So over here is a titanite shard and some more slugs. And after the bar finally fills, we become poisoned. Right, so over here we can find 10 prism stones and quite a few more slugs as well. So let's take them out. This one was sitting on top of a stone parma, which is a shield. That was rude. Right, let me activate the health regeneration. Alright, let's take you out as well, so that you don't feel left out. And next to this tree there's also 4 rotten pine resin, which similarly to other pine resin can be applied to your weapon, but instead of doing any elemental damage, it makes your weapon build up poison on the target. Right, so that was a dark wraith that I just defeated, and it was guarding a sage's skull. Right, so let's now turn back. Let's not go that way, as we are going to get there in a slightly different way. Let's go back and take out the rest of the slugs. Alright. So, like I mentioned, right, so here is where we find another Estus shard. And like I mentioned, straight swords are much faster than great swords, and my Cathedral Knight greatsword is not yet that strong, so I will stick to the ice and fire setup that I have. And alright, now we can go up these stairs where we find a new type of enemy, these goat-like, demon-like, I'm not even sure. Their official name is Guru. So let's take all of them out, and the message here once again says extinguish 3 flames and open the door to Wolf's Blood. And sure enough, when we approach the flame, it gives us the option to extinguish it. So let's do that. And this is the door to Wolf's Blood. Which is quite ominous, to be honest. Right, so moving on. Here we find another one of these guys. So let's take him out. And we can also find an item, which is a couple rotten pine resins. Alright, now moving on. This is where we would have arrived if I were to follow the path after picking up the Sage Skull. So let's move on now that our possible path and our actual path have converged. So this guy is quite dangerous. You want to get the first strike against him, because if you don't, you're going to be in trouble. So over here we have more poison, a Titanite shard, and this area is actually similar to the deep water from the Road of Sacrifices or the mud from the Cathedral of the Deep. And unfortunately for us, we will have to face some enemies in this area. So there's a big guy over there, and I'm not going to face him just yet. There is another big guy over there patrolling. I'm once again not going to face him just yet. I am instead going to take out these little guys one by one. Alright. And now, up there is that little pot with Estus soup in it. And I want you to remember its location, because it's going to be the anchor point for how much of the area I've actually cleared. Right, so let's take out these guys as well. I got a Titanite shard from one of them, so that's nice. Now let me also go over here. So, like I mentioned, that is the area with the Estus soup and the pot. And over here is a bridge that I'm going to cross momentarily, but first I would like to defeat the enemies below it. Alright, there we go. Now let's go back to where we were earlier, before going into this poison. So, over here, that is where that enemy was. That is where there was a Titanite shard, and over here we can find another Titanite shard. Right, let me heal now. And here we approach the second flame, where we can find 2 purple moss clumps. Now, moss clumps can be used to clear a status effect. So blood red is for bleed build up, purple is for poison, and there are 2 more that we have not yet encountered, but we will, and they are for other 2 status effects. For 2 other status effects. Right, now that I finally said a sentence that is actually grammatically correct in English, let's head towards the bridge that I mentioned earlier. And there are some guards here, as you might expect. And one of them poked me in the nose, which was rude. Alright, then I'll deal with you first, and then take care of these guys. Alright, now that these guys are out of the way, the other side of the bridge was hiding a bonfire. Right, cool. But before I continue on, I am going to go back to the previous bonfire, and I will take another route through the area. Route. I'll go a different way. So, instead of going left, I'm going to go to the right. And here I can find some more purple moss clumps, which I'm actually going to assign as a quick item. And here, once again, is the big, well, not big, but deep muck, I guess, the deep swamp. And unfortunately, this is how we are going to have to face some enemies. Starting with these guys. Now I want to get out of this fog as quickly as possible, as that icon right there is a curse build-up, and as soon as it completes, it's an instant kill. So I want to stay away from the fog. And here we have another invasion to deal with in the middle of the swamp, so it's less than optimal. Alright. Let's deal with you, shall we? There we go, that's much better. And I got a mannequin claws, which is the weapon of this invader. Alright, if we keep going forward, there are a couple more of these so-called basilisks. And once again, I want to stay away from that cloud, as I don't want to be instant killed. So as soon as the cloud starts spreading, I roll out of it. There we go, double poke. And once again, before continuing on this way, I am actually going to go back over here, and I will climb the stairs instead. So let me activate this once again. Let me eat the purple moss clump, and oh boy, hi. Well, if we are indeed meant to dance, I prefer it to be on solid ground rather than in deep swamp. Alright, there we go. Nice dancing. So, we arrive at the third flame, and there's also a rusted gold hidden cheekily behind the wall. Alright, so the third flame is now extinguished. Which means that the door to Wolf's Blood is now opening. And it's ominous. Alright, so after doing that, let's keep going to arrive on the other side. And once again we have one of these guys to deal with. So let me sneak up and get a backstab. There we go, that's much better. And let's finish this guy off with a couple light attacks. And we are once again invaded. The invader should be over there. I should see her shortly, and sure enough, there she is. Come on. Come on, let's dance. Like, I know you suck at dancing, like you stepped on my shoe the last time we met, but let's dance anyway, right? You are such a poor dancer, I tell you. Anyway, so this is where I would appear if I were to continue on. And here is where we can find a large soul of a nameless soldier. Some more basilisks, but before I go there, there is actually another item hidden in this corner. So let's go pick it up. It is another large soul of a nameless soldier. Alright, so now let's keep going this way, and oh boy, these guys were ready to dance. Right, so let's hug the right side. Now these items I cannot get quite yet, but I will get them as soon as I can. Right, let me just deal with these guys, and there is actually a cave with some items over here, and this is where we can find a golden scroll and an antiquated dress, gloves and skirt. Alright, let me activate this once more, and Here there are some repair powder, 4 pieces of them, and I knew that among the trees there was another one of these big guys, so let me sneak up and get the first strike. Alright, that wasn't so bad. Okay, I shouldn't have said anything. Anyway, now that this guy is out of the way and we approach another open area, let's hug the left side instead. And would you look at that? There are some more slugs here. Right, so let's take them out with the Oracle Straight Sword, which is a great one for dealing with them, as it triggers the frostbite in 2 hits. So even if 2 hits wouldn't be enough to defeat the slugs, the frostbite would. Now, moving on, we found another Titanite shard, and there's also another item hidden in this little corner, and this is a set of nameless knight armor. And there's another one of these guys patrolling, so let's try to lure him to solid ground. Hello. Hello, do you hear me? You do hear me. Hi, let's dance. Uh-oh. Alright, there we go. That's another one out of the way, and the item he was looking after is a couple Titanite shards. Right, so this pot that I mentioned would be the anchor point of how much of the area I've cleared. It's right over here. Well, it's behind me right now. I just went over here to deal with these slugs. So, this is where we find the pot with Estes soup. Those were the little guys I defeated during the first excursion. There's also a sunlight talisman over here. And more than that, we can also find a wolf's blood swordgrass, which is a covenant item, once again. I appear to have overlooked this little slug, so let's go give him some attention. And now this trio next to the ladder has been defeated, and we are free to climb the ladder, which I'm just going to eat the purple moss clump to stop the poison. Alright. Actually, before I clear the ladder, I believe I should also clear the inside of this tower, which is full of slugs. And they were gathering around an undead bone shard. Now, this is where there's the door to Wolf's Blood, and this is where the other bonfire was. So, this, I guess, large chunk of the area is now completed, completely explored, save for 2 items that I cannot yet get to from here. So now I can climb the ladder and go inside, where we find a bonfire we also find this old wolf of Farron, which is how we can ask to join a covenant. The Covenant of Watchdogs of Farron. Now, this covenant, what it does is if there's a player that is embered and is currently in Farron Keep, if you are a part of this covenant, you can be summoned to defeat the other player in order to protect the wolf's blood, the Farron Keep, which is why it's called Watchdogs of Farron. Right, aside from that, there's also an item that we need to get in a different manner, and sure enough, if we go outside and climb up here, we can find a crystal lizard. So let's take it out, and we get another twinkling titanite, and over here is an illusory wall where we can find the item, which is Dream Chaser's Ashes. Alright, so let's go up the elevator and explore the area over here. I am going to keep the poison moss clump, as I'm not yet done with the swamp. Now, over here, if I can not run into this railing, there's a big boy over there, but before we go say hi, we can go over here, as there is a path to the side that we can follow. So over here, and over here. There we go. Right, so here's another little area where we can find a few crystal lizards, first of which is over here. So let's take it out. The second of which is over here. Let's take it out as well. And then we also have a lightning spear, which is the first damaging miracle, and a dragon crest shield. Now, crest shield is good at blocking dark damage, and a dragon crest shield is good at blocking fire damage. Alright, so here we have some more of these hollow soldiers. That crystal lizard dropped a hollow gem. Sorry, not a hollow gem, a heavy gem. The soldiers are hollow, the gem is heavy, not the other way around. Alright, so let's clear out all the guys here. Kick. And poke. Alright, and up there is where we can find a guy with the lantern, who would wake up all the other enemies if he noticed us earlier. And the guy that actually fell dropped an item that is a pair of his trousers. Anyway, now that this area is cleared, we can go over here, drop this way to not take any fall damage. And for this guy, I'm actually going to temporarily switch back to the big weapon, as big boys require big weapons. Alright, I will hide behind this broken pillar, I guess, until he is facing away, and then I will make a run for it. Haha! Hello! Now, with this guy, there are two places where you don't want to be. The first place is far away from him, as he can do a devastating projectile attack. And the second place is in front of him, as he can grab you, which deals very, very high damage. Right, after defeating this guy, we get Soul of the Stray Demon. We can also get an Ember, a Great Axe, and another Ember. Right, so that's pretty much all we can find here. And if you were wondering, yes, this is the other side of the bridge that we landed on our way to Undead Settlement. But they are disconnected. They are broken apart. Alright, now let me switch back to the Airful Straight Sword and Fire Longsword. And I will go back to the bonfire in Firelink Shrine. Right, so there are a few things. Firstly, I found some ashes.
Ah, well met, Ashen One. How may I be of service?
So I found this.
Ashen One, what woeful umbral ash is this? This barren dust, stuff of a fool, won't yield aught. Where didst thou happen upon the stuff? Tell me for the sport.
It was in a tower in the middle of a poison swamp.
Oh yes, I see. Clinging to lofty dreams in this dying world, more's the pity. It must come from one most foolish indeed. Wouldst thou not agree?
Right, yeah, so funny. Anyway, I must be on my way.
Ashen One, be sure to bring more souls.
Right, so I found a coal.
Well met. 'Tis good to see ye in good health. What needs smithing this day?
Well, what needs smithing? I would like to reinforce my Estes flask. And I also found a coal. Sage's coal.
Well. What's the Undead Legion doing with a coal such as this? I'd heard one of the Crystal Sages had sided with Farron's Abyss Watchers. I suppose it must be true. You should know. This coal is imbued with magic. First one I've ever seen. Hardly a surprise, is it? I've never been one for books or wise men.
Right, yeah, funny. I'll talk to you later.
Prithee, be careful. I don't want to see my work squandered.
There is another NPC that I want to talk to, and that's Orbeck. Hey man, guess what?
Oh, you're back then. Again, I'm Orbeck of Vindheim, here to teach you sorceries. Let us begin with the basics. The ideal sorcerer bears the twin faces of the dragon. You could at least act as if you're paying attention.
I found this.
Oh my. Well, this is very unusual. It's from Ulasil, an ancient land of golden sorceries. Not even the Dragon School possesses such a long-lost scroll. What would the Xanthus scholars say with their ridiculous headwear? They would simply slaver over this find.
So, as you might expect, we can learn some sorceries from this guy. But I will do that later, like much later.
Come again.
Much later. Right, now, since I'm here...
Welcome home, Ashen One. Speak thine heart's desire.
I would like to increase my stamina.
Very well. Then touch the darkness within me. Take nourishment from these sovereignless souls.
So endurance, and I will put a few points into it. That's nice.
Farewell, Ashen One. May the flames guide thee.
Alright, now let's go to the bonfire. Let's burn the undead bone shard from the Farron keep, and let's warp to keep ruins. Alright, let's go on and turn left to clear out the rest of the area. So firstly, there is a titanite shard right next to that building, I guess. Then over here we have some more of these little guys, and over here there is another white birch, another large crab, and quite a few items. Ow! Don't pinch me, man. Good night. Alright, so after defeating this crab we get a lingering dragon crest ring, and we are free to loot the items in the area. Some gold pine bundles, large soul of an unknown traveler. I'm also going to activate the regeneration already to combat the poison. There's also an ember, the soul of a nameless soldier, a young white branch, a crown of dusk, and a young white branch. Now, Crown of Dusk is the headwear that completes the antiquated set. Right, anyway, moving on. Let's now go over here, as there's a couple more things to pick up. So firstly, we have some more of these enemies. Let's take them out. This one dropped rotten pine resin. Quit poking me. That's rude. Do not block my attacks. You are being so annoying right now. And we find another scroll over here. Sage's scroll. And yeah, there's an item there, but there are also these big guys. It's best to lure them one by one, so let's do that. Let's lure this guy first. 1, 2. More would be risky. 1, 2. And a strong attack to seal the deal. Alright, and this guy dropped a black bow of Faris. And to grab the attention of the other guy, I'm going to throw a firebomb. Hi, teehee. Uh-oh. Alright, once again. 1, 2. Dodge. Do not get greedy. A third one. And a strong attack to finish the deal. And now for the last guy, I believe I can approach him quietly and get the first strike. Alright, there we go. And after defeating all three of them, we get a Faris's hat. This guy also dropped a heavy gem. And the item they were gathered around is a poison gem. Now this is the other side of the bridge that I cleared much earlier on, so we can just consider the swamp completely cleared, completely done. And now let's finally go through the door that leads to Wolf's Blood. Right, let me eat this once again. And let me have a sip. There we go. So, what have we got? We have got an item. And we have some more of these guys. So this is actually where I switch back to this weapon, except I need to put this away. And alright, grab the weapon in two hands, approach unnoticed, be heard, and then still get a charged attack off. And this guy dropped his staff, which is rather a rare drop. Right, now let's treat all the other guys the same way, with a charged attack with the big sword. And now up here there are a couple more dark wraiths, which this is one of the few areas where enemies actually fight one another. Right, before we do that though, let's turn right, as there is another bonfire awaiting us over here. So let's go get it. And before I continue on, before I turn around, there is a bit more of this area over here. So let me once again perform the absolute monster of a strategy of approaching unheard and executing a charged two-handed attack. And one of these groups actually dropped its weapon. It's a rotten curved sword. Right, let's see how charged attacks fare against this guy. And they are monstrous. Alright, this one dropped 2 Titanite scales. Here we also find a great magic weapon and a door which connects back to the Road of Sacrifices. Alright, so let me now go over here and finally loot the last of the items in this area, which I can get by dropping over here and following this path. The items are an atonement, which is a dark miracle, and a hollow gem, which can be used to create hollow infusions, which is available much later on. Anyway, I don't want to go back through the swamp, so I'm going to use a bone, and I shall go to the Firelink shrine. And since I'm at it, I will go give Orbeck the scroll, and I can see there are some NPCs back in the shrine. Hi.
The undead legion of Farron is a caravan of undead, sworn by wolf's blood to contain the abyss. The legion will bury a kingdom at the first sign of exposure. Joyous bunch, really. Gaining admission to the legion is a matter of some ceremony. Inside their keep, snuffing out the flames of 3 altars opens the door to the wolf blood. Even accursed undead want to believe they're special, it seems. I pity the sorry souls.
Alright, cool. Let's talk to you. Hello.
Hello again. I have since heard a great deal about you. For one, that you are most gentle of heart. I, too, am bound by duty, but can offer you my sign. I hear that cordial intrusion lays the path to embers. If I can be of help, by all means, do call upon me. Blessing of the moon upon your journey.
Thanks. Alright, now let me head to Orbeck and give him the next scroll.
Back again, I see.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose this means you're after sorceries.
Not quite. I'm here because I found another scroll for you.
Oh my. This is stupendous. And the undead legion of Farron possesses sorceries quite unknown. Thank you for upholding your end of the bargain. I doubt I ever would have made this discovery alone. Now, let us unravel the thing, so you may put these new sorceries to use.
Well, yeah, I think I left the stove on. I'll talk to you later.
Come again.
Anyway, now that I am pretty much done with the swamp, I no longer need the poison bite ring, I no longer need the purple moss clumps, and I can switch back to night leggings, and I can once again take off the cap, hood, whatever. Anyway, back to Farron Keep perimeter, as this bonfire is the closest one to the boss. And let's begin the last section of this area. So now these dark graves, they come from over here, and there's actually a chance that they will turn towards this doorway, and if you are standing in it, chances are that they will just run after you. So it's best to just stay over here and wait for them to pass. And after they pass, it's a good idea to hug the right side, as there's an enemy you can just take out over here by surprise. And I got a Wolf's Blood Swordgrass, which is a rare drop from these guys. Right, so while these two dark graves are wreaking havoc, I will follow closely behind and get the loot that enemies dropped. Alright, let me also take out this guy and get an ember. Alright, now it's my time to shine. Oh, hi. Oh, that's awkward. That's better. Oh, that's very awkward now. Yeah, get him from behind. Come on. There you go, there you go. Get him, yeah, good job. You don't want this, you don't want this. I said that you didn't want this. Why couldn't you just listen? Right, anyway. This guy dropped his gauntlets and another cracked red eye orb. There's also a titanite shard that dropped from one of the gurus. Now up here is I guess where that other dark grave fell. So up here there are some black bug pellets, and sure enough, here lays the other dark grave that dropped a cracked red eye orb. Now cracked red eye orbs can be used when you play online, and after using them, the game searches for a world that you can invade. So anyway, here we get a couple summon signs. This one is for Black Hand Godheart, and to the left there should also be a sign for Ceres, but I believe that since I didn't reload Firelink Shrine after she offered me help, the game didn't actually realize that we are now allies. Anyway, let's finally enter this building and let's finish this area up. A joyous bunch. Really. Hi? Alright, I suppose you want to dance. Well, too bad you're no match for my big sword. Oh. Oh, there's more of us to the dance. Alright. Now, I realize I may have overdone it a little bit. Like, most players won't take out the boss's 80% HP in the first 10 seconds of the fight. So, what's happening in the first phase? You start off with just you and the boss. Then this guy wakes up and the two of them start ganging up on you. And then this third guy joins the party, and this guy is crazy. He just attacks the first entity that he sees, and yeah, after the main boss falls, this is where we go into the second phase. Now, the first phase is basically how you manage to deal with multiple enemies. And keep in mind that the guy with red eyes can actually help you if you're not the one standing closest to him when he stands up. Alright, so the second phase of the Abyss Watchers. So, once again, the boss gets new moves and becomes much more dangerous. Not only does this boss have increased combos, but his swings now have a fire follow-up. And you need to choose your windows to attack very carefully. Luckily, his acrobatic style of fighting can leave him quite vulnerable. So after he does this and then this, you can get behind him and get a juicy backstab. And while he's trying to get back up, you can use that time to charge up an attack to deal some extra damage. That was a little bit greedy on my end, but it's fine. The Abyss Watchers have been brought down, and this is the first Lord of Cinder that we defeated. So as a reward we get the Cinders of Abyss Watchers and the Soul of the Blood of the Wolf. Right, let's now go back to Firelink Shrine and let's sit one of the lords upon their throne. So, their throne over here, Watchers of the Abyss. Let's offer the Cinders. There we go. Now, Hawkwood should be here, but he is not. So I am going to reload the area. I bet he has something to say about the fact that we just defeated Abyss Watchers. You do, don't you?
Gaining admission to the Legion is a matter of some ceremony.
I know.
Inside their keep, snuffing out the flames of 3 altars opens the door to the wolf blood.
I know, been there, done that.
Even accursed undead want to believe they're special, it seems. I pity the sorry souls.
Dude, I defeated them.
You offed the Lords of Cinder, the undead legion. So that's how they're delivered to their thrones. I pity the sorry souls. Is that really Lordship's last reward?
I guess.
I failed to thank you for helping them find their final resting place.
So, a Farron ring. Now what this does, after you execute a weapon art, a lot of your FP is, well, in most cases your FP is consumed, and the Farron ring reduces that FP that is used by weapon art. And look who showed up.
Ah, I know you. Been some time. I just dropped in to see how she's getting on. Now, what are you playing at with this circus? This cesspool of doddering old folk and degenerates. Couldn't be better. She must fit in perfectly here.
Okay, you know what? I regret I talked to you. What I should have done instead is I should have just ended the episode. So that would be all from me for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.